Voilà, c'est bon. Merci. Alors, je vais vous présenter l'équipe d'un couteau dans le cœur de Yann Gonzalez. Alors, d'abord, à ma gauche, le producteur Charles Gilibert.
Bonjour.
À l'extrémité de la table, le co-scénariste Cristiano Mongion.
Bonjour.
À côté de Charles Gilibert, Nicolas Maury.
Bonjour.
Comédien. À côté de Cristiano Mongion, Kate Moran, comédienne.
Bonjour.
Et coincé entre...
We have Nicolas Maury,
Bonjour.
Et Vanessa
actor,
Paradis, pardon, je me suis
Vanessa Paradis, of course, between Nicolas Maury and Yann Gonzalez.
Voilà. Je vais commencer
And
par
the director, Yann Gonzalez. I'll start by putting a question to Yann, and then I'll give the floor to the others. Yann, to what extent does the character come from a producer who really existed? It's a starting point. It started out as a documentary. I'd heard about this producer who was violent, alcoholic, extreme, humiliating with the actors. And I felt that this was a crazy character, a very powerful character. And therefore, I decided to write a script.
Donc j'ai rencontré pas mal de gens qui la connaissaient.
I met quite a lot of people who knew her. In fact, she died quite some time ago.
Mais finalement, cette matière documentaire
finally,
avec Cristiano, on s'en est
this
assez peu
documentary
servi.
material was not what we really used with Cristiano.
Je dirais, dans la fiction.
Rushed into a true fiction,
dans le romantisme,
a
dans le romanesque.
fiction which was quite Romanesque and romantic.
Et Cristiano, vous aviez conseillé, je crois, Yann
Cristiano.
sur ses projets, sur la plupart de ses projets.
You've advised Yann on most of his projects, and I think you worked on his first feature film, Les Rencontres d'après minuit. How did you co-write A Knife and Heart?
Notre collaboration déjà, ça s'est passé très bien et on se connaît depuis
We
longtemps.
worked
on
well
échange
together. We've known each other for quite some time.
Et je crois que la
I
chose qui a
think
fait décider Yann de
that
travailler avec moi,
the reason Yann decided to work with me and asked me to co-write the work stems from the script that I wrote for another film. It worked out very well. Yann, he really liked the script, and I think perhaps that was
Ça fait décider, non, ça.
Oui,
the
puis
triggering
on a
factor.
aussi les mêmes goûts.
Yes, we have the same tastes, we have the same passion for subversive, somewhat deviant films. We're very close to each other in life.
Donc voilà, on est traversé par les
We
mêmes
have the
énergies.
same group of friends, we have the same energy, so to speak. And did you think about Vanessa Paradis as of the writing of the script at the end, once we'd finished writing the
Le
script?
visage d'une actrice s'imprime sur le personnage.
Suddenly, the face of an actress appeared on the character, and I said, great, we have her.
Vanessa, je crois que c'est la première
Vanessa,
fois
I think this is the first time that you have come to defend a film in Cannes. What's it like?
Rempli de joie.
It fills me with great joy. 2 years ago, I was a member of the jury, and I really wanted to come to defend a film.
Je suis si fière de monter les
A
mains sur
film,
l'épaule.
I feel very proud to walk the red carpet. I saw other people do this, and it's a very special, moving moment. So here I am. I'm very pleased indeed.
D'accord. Et est-ce que ça vous a étonné que Yann Gonzalez...
Were you surprised that Yann Gonzalez offered you this part as a very powerful, violent, alcoholic woman? Yes.
Oui, j'étais
Yes.
vraiment consciente de la chance que j'ai eue.
I realized how lucky I was that he should think of me and offer me this part in this film. It's a dream part to play.
De comédienne,
When you're an actor,
de jouer
you
un
want
personnage
to
riche, aussi intense.
play characters who are very intense, very rich. It was a wonderful
Vous avez
gift.
Très vite accepté.
So you quickly accepted? Absolutely, right away.
Je me suis dit, waouh,
I said, wow,
génial. Enfin,
fabulous.
c'était des mots comme ça. En disant. Et puis oui, je fais pas souvent aussi de. Je fais pas souvent.
And I don't do many films. I do more music. I was very surprised that Jan should think of me at that time. It was 3 or 4 years ago, I think, when we started, perhaps 3 years ago, we started to talk about the film together. People hadn't been thinking much about me for films, so I was deeply touched. I thought he was very courageous.
Et en quels termes il vous a présenté
How did he present the part to you? What words did he use? He showed me the script, and then we met. He wanted to offer me the part, and I already wanted to work with him. And with Kate and Nicholas, I'll tell you how we worked together. But the first time we met, it was absolutely obvious that we liked each other, that we'd get along, and we really enjoyed spending time together. We worked, but it was fun and joyful at the same time. It seems self-evident. The role is violent, but does a violent role make the shooting unpleasant? Not at all, on the contrary. The film is so creative at all levels, in terms of the technical aspects and the acting. Each member of the crew felt responsible, creatively speaking, and that's fascinating when you ask everyone to create something. The makeup, the sets, you have to create all the time. I don't know. You have the personality of Jan that plays a part. We worked in a very joyful manner. We were very concentrated in our work, but had a lot of fun. I like the idea of a director who defines a framework, and then the technical crew and the actors are very free. The frame is absolutely fundamental, but you have to let people be free, and then they surprise you. I think you asked the actor who portrays the killer never to remove his mask, even between the takes, and not to talk. Why? What kind of atmosphere did it create for you? I wanted to create anxiety on the set. I wanted the character to be really frightening and scary.
Et Jonathan Jeunet, qui est un acteur génial.
Jonathan, who's a wonderful actor and who I discovered in Cosmos, lent himself to the game, to the part. We met quite quickly as soon as Cosmos had been released, and I was overwhelmed by his part in the film. And I said, well, during the set it's going to be difficult, you won't be able to communicate with the other actors, you'll have to remain totally isolated. And he played the part. It was very special for him. He put on a sort of a mask when he came out of the subway station, and he kept this mask on throughout the shooting. He's just here in the room. Whereas he's actually a very luminous, smiling person. Any questions?
My question is actually for the director. I'd like you to talk about a little bit of the score of the film and how did you collaborate with M83?
Oh, the score of the film. Alors sur la musique, je crois
in terms of the music, I think we were
nourri le film dès l'écriture.
Influenced by the music we had in our minds when we were writing the screenplay.
Pino Donaggio's
music, for Brian De Palma, Morricone's music for some of Argento's films.
Voilà, on est parti de ces compositions très lyriques.
We had these very lyrical melodies, sometimes very sentimental melodies in our minds.
Qui étaient celles du cinéma de genre de l'époque.
That was typical of genre cinema at the time. Of course, we didn't want to create a sort of a pastiche. We didn't want the film just to be a patchwork of different references. We wanted it to be very contemporary.
et quelque chose qui raconte aussi.
The film tells a story, and the story is set in.
Et MIT3, c'est voilà.
Set now.
Beau sur ce projet,
What was wonderful with this project
mon frère qui est
was that.
Qui est la base de ce groupe.
My brother, in fact, gave rise to the group.
Il a collaboré de nouveau avec.
He worked once again with Nicolas Fromageau,
son co-compositeur.
who was his co-composer with the first 2 albums of M83.
C'était des retrouvailles. Il y avait quelque chose de très très émouvant.
They met up again, and it was very moving, actually.
Un retour à l'adolescence, en fait.
It was sort of like going back to our teenage years, first loves, the VHSs we watched in secret, hidden away from our parents, the idea of being a bit subversive. We thought that was really nifty at the time. So we started with those images, that music, and all 3 of us together, we plunged into this period in time. It was wonderful. The recording of the music was a magical moment.
Et d'ailleurs, toujours pour parler de la musique, du coup,
Just to talk about the music, what's it like working with your brother? Does it enable you to save time, or on the contrary? Yes, you save a lot of time. He's a great guy, but he's very impatient. We didn't find
de la BO tout de suite.
The color of the trailer right away. We needed music, the right music, and as soon as we found the first theme, I don't know whether you remember it, in the picnic sequence, when one of the first murders takes place, you have a 360-degree panoramic view, and
ça a donné le là de tout le film, de toute la BO, et c'est venu très naturellement à partir de ce moment.
Was the prevailing note throughout the film, and it was used in the trailer. But it was tough. It was hard to find the film, to find the trailer, to find the right editing. The film entailed a huge amount of work. I really poured my whole life and soul into it.
Revoir certains films de Palma.
And did you ask the actors to see some of the Brian De Palma's films or other things? No. I showed Vanessa a couple of films, Pulp Fiction, Blowout, by Palma.
Des Gialli, je crois pas, mais
Gialli, I don't think so. I don't really remember. I don't think so.
Charles, mon producteur, je me souviens que j'ai
Charles, my producer, yes.
Blu-ray de Palma.
I lent him some stuff done by Brian De Palma, which he wasn't familiar with.
Le maître absolu.
For me, he's the absolute master when it comes to sentimental thrillers,
d'amour et de
feelings, love,
de cinéma de genre.
And genre cinema.
Qui me bouleverse.
He's someone who really enthralls me, overwhelms me, and I did indeed want you to see these images to understand better what we were heading at. It's wonderful to create a sense of color by first watching De Palma's films.
Hello, my name is Alejandra Musi from Mexico.
Hi.
And hello. I want to ask you about the co-production, because this is a co-production with Mexico. Mm-hmm. So how was it, and if Mexico has become a good partner to work with? If you can tell us something about it. Thank you.
Là aussi, j'ai eu
Well, here
beaucoup de chance
again,
sur ce film.
I was very
C'est
fortunate. It was fairly magical, this film. I worked on a first feature film called Tenemos la Carne,
incroyable,
which is quite incredible.
Un film subversif,
It's a subversive, a nightmarish film.
Incroyable visuellement.
It's quite incredible from a visual stance. The co-producer,
d'une certaine manière, m'a proposé de collaborer à ce film.
Proposed that I work on that film.
Ce qui est très beau, c'est
So
que
perhaps Charles would like to talk about that.
Des techniciens,
of course, we had to have
des acteurs mexicains sur le film.
Mexican actors and technical crew members from Mexico in the film. I worked with Hernandez, a wonderful, very funny actor, and that was very beneficial for the film, Noé Hernandez. It's something, a sort of foreign element that enriches the film. It lends it a much greater color. It's fabulous, in fact.
C'est de façon évidente un film qui n'était pas complètement
Obviously, this film was not all that easy to finance. That took a bit of time.
Une somme d'enthousiasme.
The film is the sum of much enthusiasm. Yann and Cristiano, and then the actors subsequently. We met Julio Chavez Montes from Piano Films,
qui a beaucoup aimé le projet, qui avait
who loved the project and really wanted to be involved.
Yann avait une relation organique.
Yann had a sort of an organic relationship with Mexico, so we could set up this co-production, which in fact was very beneficial for the film. Everything was extremely positive. This truly helped us to launch the film, and it added a lot to the film. We had other co-producers, Gonzalo, who's here, from Switzerland.
Frédéric Rougeau, le maxcinema.fr. Une question sur les dialogues.
I have a question on the dialogues. The dialogue between the person played by Vanessa and Kate was very well scripted. How did you direct them, and how did the actresses feel about it? I think to a degree we have sort of ditched the idea of totally written dialogues. That's sort of gone out of fashion.
Tout du long, quelque chose de très écrit.
Yet the film is very written.
Moi, j'aime bien que les personnages ne soient pas forcément comme dans la vie.
The characters to be different from what you see in life. We're talking about a film. As to the actual directing,
que mes acteurs suivent
I like my actors to follow a melody, because for me the musical side is very important. I don't know whether I really direct them, but I have the impression I can hear the melody of the text, and I direct them perhaps like an orchestra conductor. But I don't know. This is not really conscious in my mind. It's sort of intuitive. You give us great freedom, it's true. But at the same time, the music you have in your mind is very precise. And when you direct us, it's always so very right and accurate. It's true that our lines are carefully written. The dialogue is extremely written, worked out beforehand. And we absorbed the text, the dialogue. It became part of us, and we were thus able to portray very living characters on the set. The film is very heterogeneous, and there's a given tension in the film. We have this text. Yann sometimes writes lyrics for his brother. Occasionally, in the dialogue, things are very perfect. The language is carefully worked out. He films the actors with beating hearts, so you have this sort of contradiction between a well-worked out dialogue, which must be melodic, with tears in one's eyes, a strong appeal for love. What struck me in the film, in the relationship between Loïs and Anne, I kept thinking about the conversation over the phone. When a couple separates, when they've fallen out of love, you try to say to the other person, do you really want to leave all this? Maybe reality is less poetical than that, but we wanted to portray all the poetry in this request for love.
Très beau.
That was very beautiful.
Vanessa,
Vanessa,
vous avez travaillé le côté fétiche.
How did you work on the fetishist side of your character? For example, the hairstyle, the makeup, the red boots, for example, the way you dress.
directif, très précis.
Jan was very precise in this respect. We tried out quite a lot of things.
En 1979, donc déjà on s'amuse.
We're in 1979. We could have lots of fun with the way, the appearance of the characters, these red boots and the brightly colored raincoat and the hair. Well, that created a very striking character. We worked with Pauline, who was in charge of the costumes. We also worked with some wonderful people for the makeup. We looked things up. We watched Blondie. As soon as we found Blondie, we were quite happy. And then we looked for our own style, self-styled Blondie.
Yann, comment est-ce que vous pouvez un peu parler de la...
Could you perhaps tell us about how you work with light, with the DOP?
Oui, tout le travail de reconstitution s'est fait essentiellement dans le prisme de la lumière.
Work a lot on the light.
J'ai regardé beaucoup de films français.
I watched a lot of French films from the 70s, and I fell in love once again with this urban light between green and blue at night. This is very, very different from what you see in films today. I think that that's the real fetishism in the film. It's the light. For me,
évoque à la fois le passé, mais surtout
the light is reminiscent of the past, but above all the cinema at that time. So for me, it's a kind of a reconstitution via French films, which I love, and which plunge me back into those times.
Ouais, il y en a énormément.
Of course,
des films d'Alain Corneau.
I thought about Alain Corneau's films.
Des séries B
and B-series films, which a lot of people have forgotten. There's a film I love
Le couteau sous la gorge.
Called Le couteau sous la gorge, the knife against your throat, with Brigitte Lahaie and others.
Voilà, qui a un peu inspiré le titre aussi.
That inspired the title of my film to a degree. I pay tribute to that form of slightly deviant cinema, which is full of poetry, eroticism. It's a very erotic kind of cinema. And that light, I believe, creates a form of urban electricity, so to speak, and electricity in the characters.
J'ai une question aussi pour Kate.
I have a question for Kate.
Vous travaillez avec Yann Gonzalez depuis son...
You've been working with Yann Gonzalez ever since he made his very first film.
Comment vous le voyez grandir à...
How have you seen him evolve from an artistic stance? How has he evolved? Yann has a very special universe. That is, I wouldn't say he's a genius, but there's something that's very specific about his world. He loves the cinema. He's hugely intelligent when it comes to storytelling. At the same time, there's something totally unique in the way he goes about things. There's something that fully represents the kind of person he is. I think he's had this in him ever since he was born.
Évaluer avec chaque étape, avec chaque
At each stage in the film, with each short film, we saw this in him. Before shooting Les Rencontres d'Après Minuit, he'd done several shorts, and I had the impression that his 6 shorts had enabled him to develop, to evolve. He reached quite a degree of accomplishment, and there was just a sort of a logical development in his work. He's someone who's very, very generous. He never does things all alone.
ils sont moins importants qu'un autre.
He never makes you feel on the set that one person is more or less important than the others. Everything is very carefully worked out. The costumes, the characters, the light, the shooting. Everything is very important. Everything is valuable. And it's rare to see all this on the set. He manages to create a sort of a magic. This is what he achieves, and I think over time he's become ever more forceful and successful in recreating this kind of universe. You haven't worked with Yann quite as much. Would you like to add some more? Yann is someone who loves other filmmakers, who...
Cette chimie particulière qu'il a d'avoir gardé son regard.
What I'm about to say may seem a bit trite, but he looks at the world a bit like a child, a bit like a very childish spectator. And I'm always overwhelmed to hear him talk about other people's films. He always establishes a special link with other filmmakers. He talks about this or that film in history or in the life of a given director. I remember you showed me a number of films, which it was by Marie-Claude Triou, called Simone Barbès ou La Vertu. It's a very beautiful film, which I would urge you to go and see. It talks about just one night in the life of a woman who works in a porno movie theater. What I love with Yann is that there are different layers in his film. The film, he said to me last night, is stronger than I am. It teaches me a lot.
Cet amour du cinéma dans l'ADN de Yann.
In Yann's DNA, in his love of the cinema, it's not so much a question of references to the past. Nothing is ever scholastic. It's as though he had convened the spirits in order to make this film. It's not totally mental, but things are somewhat Asian. He brings in a lot from other kinds of films, a sort of a hazy element, something very spiritual, and he's grown hugely. I think with The Knife and Heart, I would have loved to portray Anne. You did in a way.
Le rôle le rôle de femme que j'avais lu le plus frappant, le plus fort.
The most striking female character, the craziest, the most delicate, the most sophisticated so far is the character of Anne. I have a question.
Un petit mot sur 3 personnes qui sont dans le film.
About 3 people in the film.
Nolo,
Mondico, and Roman Manger.
Je crois qu'à chaque fois, c'est rapatrier un pan de cinéma, un pan de la cinéphilie.
Was to reflect in my film some of the films that I grew up with and adored. I love Téchiné, I love all his films. I think they're quite extraordinary.
La Chata de Tête ou
La Chata de Tête, Avant que je n'oublie. These are some of the most sublime films in the history of the French cinema. They're very powerful, they're strong, they're unexpected, quite extraordinary.
C'est un amour d'adolescence, c'est les
Roman Boulanger,
c'est une comédienne sous-employée et qu'on la voit pas assez souvent.
Boulanger is someone who you don't see enough in the cinema. I've
une adolescente actrice.
Loved her ever since I was a child. I think it's absolutely beautiful to have been able to include Roman and have her work with Vanessa.
Faire du cinéma très tôt toutes les deux.
Both of them started out their careers at a very early age. I think you'd never played in a film together, in fact, up until now.
sont devenues toutes les deux de femmes magnifiques.
They both have turned into magnificent films, and they get along so well in the film. They open up these paths that lead to love, and it's extremely moving for a director. I'd never seen that kind of thing before.
Pardon, Bertrand Mandico. Oui,
and Bertrand Mandico, of course. We have so much in common. I think he's one of the most stimulating filmmakers.
J'imagine que vous avez vu Les Garçons Sauvages.
Many times you've probably seen Les Garçons Sauvages, and he has another film at the Critics Week, which is absolutely crazy, totally mad. It's a sort of a crazy film visually. It bowls you over.
Et voilà, je crois que c'est quelqu'un qui
and I think this is someone
une forme de romantisme aussi.
He was extrêmely romantic.
Contre notre époque.
But it's romantic, unlike the way you construe it in this day and age. He's against
la noirceur aussi.
Anything that's too black, too pessimistic.
De vivre encore plus fort.
In fact,
dans ces films.
When you see his films, you want to live even more intensely than in the past.
Puis voilà, il a une dégaine.
And he just looks so amazing.
Il a un côté. C'est une espèce de dandy.
He's a kind of a dandy from the 70s.
Jess Franco aussi.
He looks a bit like Jess Franco, who's an important filmmaker for me.
Il n'avait jamais vraiment joué et il a une vraie présence de.
He has a real presence as an actor.
Rassembler tous ces
and bringing all these people together.
Ces personnes, tous ces êtres au sein d'un film. C'est ça pour moi.
On the same set
le rêve du cinéma.
Was a dream, and that's what you can do with a film. With a cast, suddenly everything becomes very vibrant and alive.
Merci.
Thank you.
Yann, je crois que vous parlez de Vanessa en disant que
Yann, you talked about Vanessa and said that she doesn't have a mask. She reminds you of actresses who played in silent movies. Vanessa is made for acting. When you see her face on the screen, it triggers all sorts of emotions. It's very rich.
Il y a quelque chose dans le regard.
There's something in her look which really strikes you, which jumps out of the screen and hits you in the heart. Vanessa is like an icon, but not an icon that is totally stationary. On the contrary, she's so animated and alive, and everything comes from deep within. You can see all this on her face. She's absolutely amazing. She's a huge gift, and I thank her for accepting to be in the film. Did you show the rushes to the team as they were shot? I think they watched them in secret. No, we watched the pictures, but just photos. In secret. No, I don't think you should show anything to the actors during the actual shoot. Also, we used
faut laisser les choses s'imprimer en secret, un peu de
a fairly conventional way of shooting. We didn't shoot digitally. And so it was important that they only discover things at the end.
La matière secrète, la matière organique.
There's something organic and secret in a film. You have the actual texture of the film, the grainy texture, and the tape is quite sensual.
On hurle presque ses affects.
Shouts to you. It is full of affection, of feelings. It's a love cry, in fact.
Vous êtes beaucoup amusé à
Did you have a lot of time? Did you have a lot of fun with the porno scenes? Yeah, we laughed a lot.
Je crois que la première fois que Nicolas
I think the first time Nicolas turned up on the set,
Anne d'Amboise,
dressed up the way he was, totally transgender. Well, the whole of the set collapsed with laughter.
Bruyant.
It was really funny.
Donc voilà, je crois que ça a contaminé un peu tout le plateau.
And it was contagious.
C'est votre première scène en plus, je crois, Nicolas.
I think it was your first scene, Nicolas. Yeah, it was the first scene direct.
Que je jouisse de façon très visible.
I had to come in a very visible way. The erection? How did you manage that one? I don't really remember. There was a sort of an interrogation underway. And I panicked inside. I didn't show it, of course. Nothing transpired on my face. And I thought, should I be realistic? And then I stopped asking all sorts of questions, and I just said to myself, well, go ahead and do it.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Non, pas de questions.
No questions?
C'est bon. Je vous remercie.
Well, then, thank you very much indeed.
Hi. Jan, which kind of reaction do you get from the gay community? And maybe the movie is a metaphor to the HIV disease? Because the period and everything, 79 is a...
Oui, je crois qu'il y avait la volonté
yes, indeed.
de un hédonisme.
I wanted to show something totally hedonistic.
Un jouir ensemble qui a
People were just having fun together, and this is something that disappeared subsequently because of AIDS.
Je crois que cet hédonisme est en train de renaître.
I think this hedonism is coming back. I can see it with the 20-25-year-olds today. So there's once again some hope for a hedonistic existence.
Donc voilà, encore une fois, c'est pas
once again, this is not a film
qui est seulement ancré dans cette époque, mais
which is just rooted in a given time. I think it tells a story that I sense all around me. It exists now amongst people who are a bit younger than I am. And these people taught me a lot and inspired me greatly for my film.
Bonjour, juste une question pour Vanessa.
I have a question for Vanessa.
Lui a donné envie de consacrer peut-être un peu moins de temps à la musique.
Do you want to spend less time on music and more on films in the future thanks to this film? I don't know what your priorities are, but have they changed?
Je la fais presque quand je veux. Le cinéma,
well, I do music whenever I want. To be in a film, I have to wait for someone to call me and offer me something. For the time being, the more I act, the more I love it.
Le jeu est plus libre.
I think one is much freer on a set. You judge yourself less. It's perhaps easier. I can just lose myself in the arms of my director, in whom I place full trust. So it depends on what's offered me.
Dernière question.
One last question.
Bonjour, Émilie Olivier, Le Mac Cinéma. J'avais une question pour Vanessa Paradis.
I have a question for Vanessa Paradis.
Je souhaitais savoir si vous aviez
I wanted to know whether you have gotten a lot of proposals since you began your career. Do you regret not having been in Amélie Poulain or other films? Demi Moore apparently got the role that you wanted to do many years ago. So, do you regret not having gotten the part for some of these films? No, not really.
Peut-être une petite semaine. Et après, ça passe parce que
maybe for just a little week, and then.
Ce n'est pas à vous, n'est pas à vous. Donc,
if you're not in a film, well.
Ça n'a pas duré. Puis.
So what?
Pendant que je faisais pas ces films, je faisais des choses.
The regret is fairly fleeting, and when I wasn't in a film, I was doing other really interesting things. So it didn't really matter that much. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everybody who's here from the film. It'll be released on the 27th of June in France.